movie box office at home. I don't know, do I just take snippets of it so all the stars line up? I mean, wasn't there some other way that, like, I could have just been kept healthy and in the correct alignment from the beginning without all this? So there's big white shark balancing baby seal on his nose, kind of Mick, whatever. And then there's the high school version who was Catholic school, St. Mary's version with Ryan Reynolds and just the name Guy. Then there was, but that gets confusing because you definitely don't want to piss off the great white shark. So there's a definite Big Apple difference between the Mikes, the Mix, the whatever. Then because there's this movie that just came out called Free World, and it came out in 2020. Then it goes into, it almost looks like Yale versus Harvard in some warlord way, but in a Ivy League school competition of humans have created so many layers of organized crime. But they're playing as video gamers. Like, they don't actually get involved in the day-to-day operations. They call Guy, Guy, they call him something called an NPC. He lives in, like, sunglass world, like, where all the cool people wear sunglasses. I'm like, yeah, right, I got the reference. But then he turns one day, like, he takes someone's sunglasses and puts them on, and then all of a sudden the world changes and it's a different whatever. So that's interesting, because the doppelganger on the kid that calls himself Keys, who's some indie programmer or gamer who codes in ones and zeros, it's like, I mean, again, the relationships of, and then they call them the tsunami, and it's like, oh boy. But it's interesting in how do you get so many lookalikes from my real world in one really easy to explain movie set. I mean, it's just like taking pieces off the broken road I was set upon in Labyrinth and Muse Topiary, and then just extracting lookalikes from Hollywood and putting them in key strategic actual. Wait, what was this one in relate? Right, I mean, they're all relatable in some whatever, in kind of sort of, but not really. Like who's grabbing whose dice and who's whatever. And how does this really work? So I'm just sitting here as like couch potato during the cooch, whatever it's called, in wherever I am, and I see the poignant attempt at lookalikes coming to life on the big screen. Uh-huh. I don't know if the real people that they're whatever know about, but I don't, again, they ghosted me in the field, so it's kind of like being in that video game realm, but I don't play video games, so I'm just like the real POV moving around. Like they said, NPC is, I think, the new trendy word for this one franchise, and then it gets like, how do you make it realism and relatable? Yeah, you'd be frightened to know just how many symbolic gestures there are that match for this one purpose. So he's in the bubble.
And that was the heartbreaking story of Blue Shirt Guy.
So they're in this office, which kind of reminds me of a deco. I'm not gonna lie, because now I have an actual movie reference. And there was an interesting Jamie de Fleur that was totally single and separate from Frank bringing me into this type of mess. But it didn't have gaming on it. It said it was an employment agency. It seemed very, again, like there was no anchor or grappling hook, even when they're like, we're working on the legend. I have no idea. I even said to the guy, first of all, he was as dark as night, and I'm not. And he's tooling around on a computer saying, verbalizing that he's working on a legend. I'm like, I don't know what that means. And so, but they're all about the computers and whatever they were in New York doing on Long Island, in Melville, no less. Across the street from where Linda used to go to work in the Colonial building. It was a building across the street from that. And this looks like what I knew as Yale back in the day. I mean, never saw a graduation, but it's where the head was directed.
Doesn't make sense.
What?
I just checked the server stats. We killed Blue Shirt, and the number of players online didn't change.
It's just a glitch, man. It's not a big deal.
Oh, I know. It just seems like that's
Keith,
something
I know what
new.
you're thinking of.
But this is what Frank was keeping at work when Frank worked as a business analysis, Frank Falco, might I add. This is what he was keeping at work, and then he invited me to his work one day, also under 6 foot, but height-wise. So I went to work, and this is what he apparently was always on the phone with and was business analyzing for, which I don't even know what that meant. It made no sense to me whatsoever. But it was housed on Long Island under a Swiss company, no less, which is really confusing. Just so we're clear, I don't know how to report these things or to whom. But there was a Jamie de Fleur that caught me as like and it was funny because there's another part in the movie where the sunglass girl, she was wearing leather pants, which I won't, but that's grown up men designing a storyline, whatever, walking across the street, and he changed his script, and it stopped her for a moment because she could tell you all of the patterns and scripts all the humans down the street were going to say. That's definitely how it feels like in this arrangement or derangement with humans since birth.
You should not talk to Antoine.
I just think it's important to be transparent, okay?
No, Antoine is deep in the
Antoine?
sequel. She's either not going to care, or he's going to get pissed, and then he's going to blame us. So I don't know what you haven't figured out about the whole situation. Also, aren't you some kind of MIT genius indie game designer? What are you doing down here dealing with complaints?
That Master is a long and pathetic story involving failed dreams, desperation, and a mountain of college debt. You do not want to hear.
College debt. Is that collateral damage debt that others have forced upon my journey? And some good Samaritan some way got roped into something. I'd like to think humans are good. I just haven't seen it in the real action.
You're absolutely right. That story sounds horrible and boring and full of white privilege. Don't talk to Antoine.
And they just slip it in like so nonchalant.
We never dreamt this would happen. I mean, life itself, it's essentially a fishbowl game. People aren't playing it. They're watching it grow. It's a strictly observational experience where computer-generated characters interact and evolve. I thought we'd be lucky to give it away.
That's what's so charming about Keys. He's clueless about his own genius.
No, Millie is the genius. She built the AI engine from the ground up.
So, to get a little personal, what's the thing that gets you up in the morning?
Medium coffee cream to sugars. And, what's the other thing? Oh, yeah. An insatiable thirst for validation.
She's not kidding.
Not.
How about you?
Code.
Code.
Code, yeah.
Here we go.
It's not just zeros and ones, it's hidden messages. I like to think myself actually as not a code writer, but an author. I just use zeros and ones instead of words because words will let you down, but zeros and ones, never. Zeros and ones are as cool as shit.
He's not kidding.
I'm not.
You know, I've got to ask. There is a lot of chemistry between the two of you. Has this evolved into
No.
more than...
No way, no.
No.
It's strictly platonic, like best friends.
Friendship.
And now your game is going to be released by Tsunami, one of the biggest publishers in the world.
It's crazy.
It is, yeah.
Actually.
It does seem a little bit like an unlikely pairing, though.
Yeah, I didn't totally get it either.
So strange. But it does show some other lifestyle that I have not been exposed to and that I don't partake in. With this whole now everybody's lost, like nobody wants to work on the real municipality because they're all stuck in some VR video game, like super high tech games, graphics, gooey, like what's next? Like rally machine, and it's like, no, there's like some real serious stuff in the real world nobody's even attended to while they're distracting themselves in some like perfect scenario where you can wear it for a couple of hours and then take it off and then realize where you really live and are in the world, which is nowhere, and then it really sucks and it really starts to set in. And it's within the 20th Century Studios. What's interesting is it says Free Guy, but it doesn't have that news corporation at the bottom of it. I know that's significant, just don't know why. And it's got some whatever this is. And it's interesting at Zilch Nil Nada. The nil I just heard is some sports term that they're making off their name, image, and likeness, but I haven't been brought into any of those conversations at all. But it's going on in some whatever on a mention from one of the TV programs. Called Free Guy. And it looks like, they say, well, there we are.
This is Free City. Look at this guy. He's one of the sunglasses people. And the people who wear sunglasses are heroes. They have a devil-may-care attitude, and they run this town.
You're so hot.
Oh, I know. See? That's not even his car. Or his wife. For the sunglasses?
It's not his car or his wife. He's just a sunglass guy.
They get to do anything they want. They go on all sorts of missions. They got cool hair, cool clothes. I mean, laws aren't really laws to them. They're more like mild suggestions. Like, I don't think he's gonna return that car. Or that nice lady.
It's interesting the way that Ryan Reynolds speaks that one line. It sounds very Mirza to me.
See what I mean? Hero.
This is what New York City feels like at the moment.
This is the greatest cup of coffee of all time. I want to write a song about it.
I want to dance to that song. It's my body.
I love my life. It's something about finding your lane and just staying in it.
That's why they call them comfort songs. They're so damn comfortable.
Oh,
Mondays, am I right, Joe?
you said it, guy.
And then he goes to work at the bank, but every day somebody's coming in the bank to rob it because while he's just going about his daily nothing of waking up, it looks very Groundhog's Day with Bill Murray, every day, exactly the same, every day, exactly the same. There's some computer gamer moving people in and out of this, what they call comfort zone. And that's where it, like, but it's still an armed robbery every day at the bank that he has to witness. So they just every day, like clockwork, just know to get on the floor and just wait for the bank robbery to be done, because bank robbers are the actual gamers, and then there's these things that they call NPC.
In Free City, I have everything I need.
Don't have a good day. Have a great day. Take care.
Except one thing.
Seem happy.
Oh, come on, don't worry about that guy. You're gonna find someone.
That's okay, bud. I feel like I've been looking for it forever. You know, maybe it's just maybe it's not meant to be.
Everybody down on the ground!
I know the woman I'm looking.
Now, this is what drives me crazy. This conversation does exist. It does. But who he's speaking to is just trying to talk him out of it. That even though this is how the scene was built, was with them as an NPC instead of video gamers and outlaws, and they're not part of that world.
Let me guess. The woman that offered me to see him and upset she would feel good to go pop. Yes, that's her.
She's running space in my brain and she won't move out. And you know what? I don't want her to.
Well, guess what? She won't move either in or out. You know why? Because she doesn't exist. She's just a fantasy. It's a fantasy. I'm being real. Nobody try to be a hero. This will all be over soon.
I can't tell you how many humans have said that. It's like they just, and I say to Lynn all the time, I'm like, so you're telling me, for me, and the advice I should give to my children is to aim for dirt. Like, just aim for the floor. Don't even aim high. Don't have any expectations whatsoever. And, I mean, like, the life she's living with Lou, I don't know why. I mean, again, that's why I really don't ask her for advice. But when she does, she's like, oh, you're crazy to think that you actually, like, belong with someone, because that doesn't happen. If it doesn't happen, then why are you here? What is your purpose? What is it that you're doing here? Just because the system got rearranged and built in some alternate reality doesn't mean I have to conform. I still know that they're wrong, and the way that this has gone is completely wrong. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.